I'll cover a couple things in this video here. First, I'm going to say thanks for all the response and the reviews on that video I made about the big trade that we made with the Edmonton Oilers, where we basically swapped stinky contracts, where we traded James Neal to the Edmonton Oilers in exchange. We got Milan Lucic and a conditional third-round pick, which now it's already been out there that we will get a third-round pick in 2020 from the Edmonton Oilers if both James Neal scores at least 21 goals and Milan Lucic has 10 or fewer, at least 10 goals or fewer than James Neal there. So a couple conditions need to be met before we get that pick there. Hard to say if that's actually going to happen here, but I mean, there were many points that I covered on that video there, and it was basically my raw reaction that, I mean, it theoretically makes sense, but it seemed too outrageous to be true just because it was Calgary Edmonton here. But basically at the end of the day here, it was trading away stinky contracts where Edmonton was desperately needing some help on the wing there, and James Neal fulfills that. Well, Calgary, we were still the second highest scoring team in the league last year without much help from James Neal in that department there. But we looked at maybe getting a little bigger and tougher and add a little more grit there, that with a guy that could potentially still score a few goals here, and Milan Lucic. And if it means that he'll pick on a couple guys that pick on guys like Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau, we definitely have another partner in crime there with Matthew Tkachuk and Bennett here. So, but I'm going to still say I'm still indifferent. And the fact that I'm going to say James Neal, while still has more upside, has more pressure to perform than Milan Lucic here. So that's just my follow-up on that there. But then there was some other recent news here that we're still, after all this trade talk and the trade actually happened here, we did actually add $500,000 to the salary cap there, which is a little relief here, but we're still in a cap crunch here. I mean, we have no more arbitration cases, as you know, there, because first both Ryan Lomberg and Rinat Viliev, who also filed for arbitration, they both first got signed, and they will be back. Rinat Viliev is a defenseman that we acquired from the Montreal Canadiens in the Brett Kulak trade, and then Ryan Lomberg was just a non-drafted free agent who I think he'll still probably spend more time in Stockton now, especially we made the trade to get Milan Lucic for the fourth line here. But we had a couple other signings that we can update you on. Is that earlier this week, Sam Bennett, he signed a 2-year deal with, overall it's $5.15 million around there. So I think that's a perfect contract for him. Still another show-me contract, and with still some upside here. I mean, he was definitely drafted as a checking forward here. I thought maybe he could have still showed a little more offense that he showed with the Kingston Frontenac days, but he's all pretty much also much of the time here been in the bottom six forward here, and maybe some new bodies around and new chemistry with a few players that maybe he could still show he can still score a few more goals here, but he definitely fulfills the checking forward part and adds a little grit there, which I could still vision him with Matthew Tkachuk and newly acquired Milan Lucic here. And then as of this morning here, we also signed goalie David Rittich ahead of his arbitration case here. He signed actually a 2-year deal worth $5.5 million here, so his cap is $2.75 million, which is exactly similar to Cam Talbot here, which I figured that's a reasonable contract considering that, I mean, you can't compare it to Mikko Koskinen up in Edmonton there. I mean, that was way overpayment for a guy with not much body of work here. But Jordan Bennington, who was the St. Louis Blues goalie, that the rookie that came out and stole the job away from Jen Gallen and was the goalie that led the St. Louis Blues to their first Stanley Cup here. He was getting paid just over $4 million. He signed a 2-year deal, and so David Rittich he posted up some strong numbers as in the second season in NHL, and for part of the season there, he took over as the starting goalie there before Mike Smith took the job back at the end of last season and was the goalie in the playoffs here. But I'm going to say with the cap hit number between Cam Talbot and Dave Riddick here, I still anticipate we're going to see a shared tandem here with the Calgary Flames here. But after all that, we're left with $4.6 million left in cap space here. And we still got 2 more free agents, restricted free agents to sign. Andrew Mangiapane, well, I don't think that won't be a problem. But Matthew Tkachuk, I think he's definitely going to be the highest paid Flame here. So we're definitely going to need to still move out some bodies here. And do we still anticipate Michael Stone being bought out? Because he still has 1 more year left on his deal worth $3.5 million. If we were to buy him out, we would save just $2.2 million, but that would bring the cap space up to about $6.8 million, roughly. This is just top of my head there, and then we still got those 2 guys need to sign here. I'm going to assume that Andrew Mangiapane, at most, will likely get. I'm going to assume he'll sign like a 2-year deal, maybe at $1.5 million per season. That would seem about reasonable. I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but I'm just going to assume that. So if we buy out Michael Stone, we're going to need definitely a lot more than $5.5 million there. And you got still, as the speculation is that TJ Brody and Michael Frolik are on the block there, and Michael Frolik makes just over $4.3 million, and TJ Brody makes $4.5 million there. I mean, that's over $9 million, and those 2 guys there, that definitely would help in signing Matthew Tkachuk here. But I just keep hearing progress is being made, but you haven't heard anything about, is he going to sign like a bridge deal, like these 2-year deal, or is he going to sign like an 8-year deal? And I almost have to speculate that his cap hit's going to be closer to $7-8 million, or maybe fairly close to the Sebastian Aho deal. So, what's your take here on news that we've had? But this is all the news we know up to this point, is that 2 of our 4 big restricted free agents have been signed there, but they have the pressure of the arbitration case coming up here. So, what else do you think the Flames are going to need to do here? And is there any more trades? There's got to be more trades to come here. This James Neal, Milan Lucic one was kind of a little bit of a surprise here that it actually happened, and it theoretically makes sense, and I think it could still benefit both sides, that both teams are seeking what a bounce back season and what they provide here. But we're definitely going to have to still make some more moves here so we can get Matthew Tkachuk signed, because we definitely will need that guy in the future here. So, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you hit like, subscribe here, and go Flames, and I'll see you in the next video here.